more predominantly black. You had American, but also you had Caribbean as well.
Okay.
But within those stages that I was dealing with, I actually experienced a lot of adult-like situations that was very, very traumatic for me. Coming to the place where I want to say about 12 years old, I did experience my fourth grade teacher touch me inappropriately.
Oh boy. Good evening, and thank you for joining Candid Conversation Show. My name is Muriel.
My name is Ruby.
The mission of the Candid Conversation Show is about continuing to raise awareness, eradicating stigma, and improving our physical, emotional, and psychological health. Our guest this evening is Ronyai Hawkins, and we will be discussing mental health from a male's perspective.
Ronyai, we want to thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
You know what? You're the third male we've had on the show, and we're so excited.
Yes! Let's go, guys.
Yes. The viewers want to know who is Ronyai Hawkins, so we want to know from your childhood all the way up until now. Let us know a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Let us know.
Awesome. Well, I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Born and raised there, and I moved to Orlando, Florida, right here in the Sunshine State when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
Actually, my mother is a native. She was born and raised here.
Okay.
My father is originally from Georgia.
Okay.
Small little town called Montezuma, Georgia,
wow.
by the way.
Montezuma.
Montezuma, Georgia. Small little town, about like 800 people. That's pretty much it.
Gosh.
And then moved to Orlando, Florida as well. So I have a lot of family here, cousins, nieces, nephews, uncles, grandparents, the whole 9 yards. And I enjoy my childhood experience here. And then we moved over to Pine Hills.
Okay.
After that, about 10 years old. I have an older brother. He's 3 years older than me. His name is Shane. So what's up, Shane? So yeah, we had a beautiful experience growing up, but also we had some tumultuous experiences growing up as well. And Pine Hills was really a mixture of different cultures at the very beginning. But then it shifted into becoming more predominantly black. You had American, but also you had Caribbean as well. But within those stages that I was dealing with, I actually experienced a lot of adult-like situations that was very, very traumatic for me. Coming to the place where I want to say about 12 years old, I did experience my fourth grade teacher touch me inappropriately.
Oh boy.
And then that triggered off into me being exposed to pornography when I was also 12 years old as well. And from there, about 2 years later, when I turned 14, I actually witnessed my uncle on my father's side. He was exposed, and he actually passed away from HIV/AIDS.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So it's okay, no worries. But I actually had a chance to understand what it really takes to really come out of those situations and not become the product of your environment.
Right.
That's the most important thing. And then at 15, I also experienced something very, very crazy and tumultuous as well too. My high school friend, she had a sister that lived about a couple of blocks away from me where I stayed. And happened to go over there one day, just enjoying each other's company, and her sister touched me inappropriately as well. Come to find out, we turn around, her boyfriend comes in, and he suspects or thinks that, oh, are you talking to my sister? Kind of say, you know, talking to my girl. And I had nothing to do with it, just minding my own business. He comes out of the kitchen with a butcher knife about this long.
What?
And he comes towards me. So literally I had to take off out of the garage. The garage was already open. And I had to run literally for my life for about 5 blocks away from where I stayed. So what I experienced during that moment, it was really about survival. But then as I got older, and I had some amazing things in between that time frame as well too, but I'm glad that I made it to this moment to share my story and be able to express myself to the viewers out there as well about mental health and many other things. You know, I do poetry. Poetry actually became my first love at 12. So I use art as my vehicle. And from there, I was able to really express myself and really be able to vent and to get things out of my system
Through
Okay.
your poetry.
through my poetry. And I was blessed to be able to win contests, win poetry slams. I actually had an opportunity to go to Chicago for a national poetry slam competition,
Awesome.
many other things. I was also blessed to get on national stages like House of Blues, Zora Neale Hurston Festival, had a chance to perform out there, many other things, a college tour, all that
Awesome.
cool stuff. And you know, because of art itself,
Okay.
and my mother is a writer, my grandmother is a writer.
Okay, so it's in you.
So it was in me.
Yes.
I have musicians in my family, singers in my family. So I know through my experiences and also utilizing art,
Okay.
it was able to really just vent, be able to have that positive release that many young black males don't get a chance to do.
Okay.
So I would say I'm one in a million
Yes.
who actually came out very successful and very blessed.
Do you feel that the family dynamic plays a huge role in a man's mental health?
It does. I believe that the family dynamic is very, very important.
Okay.
I actually had a chance to talk on my own platform called Refuel, and I share this with other men as well too. I tell them everything starts at home.
Yes.
Everything starts at home. It's very, very important. And you can tell, even when you were growing up, that the way that your household was tailor-made, your friend's household was something a little bit different.
Right.
I can tell you that my parents were the first solidified family dynamic in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Most of my childhood friends, they grew up in a single parent household.
Right.
Okay.
So to them, it was like, oh, his dad's around? Really? So it was like their first time saying, it's an awe moment.
family.
Right.
It's actually a family affair that's actually taking place. And I do believe that because of the family dynamic has changed over the years, I mean, very progressively, but not in a good note though, because we can tell that a lot of the young men, you can tell that they're very misguided.
Okay.
You can tell by the way that, they're dressed. You can tell by the way that, they're sagging their pants, or they're being very defiant when it comes to authority. And you can tell that there is something that's missing
Right.
in this link here. And 9 times out of 10, what do we know? Fathers, male figures, they're not there in the home. They're very absent. Because of that, they're going to find someone who is a male figure anywhere.
Right.
It could be on the block, it could be on the corner store. It may not be their grandfather or their uncle.
Right.
You may have that uncle who seems to be a little bit more promiscuous. I know that for certain because my family actually had that same experience. I've had uncles that were very promiscuous. As a matter of fact, I'll tell it on camera. I have an uncle on my mother's side. He was a gospel singer. He traveled. He actually was working with Mavis Staples and the Stable Singers at one point.
Okay.
And they also had some stuff going on too,
Yes.
but I ain't gonna say nothing. But anyway, but in that moment, I also found out that my uncle had 27 children
What?
out of wedlock.
27.
27.
2-7.
27. Yes. 27.
Vincent.
For all of my Spanish people out there, love y'all. 27 kids out of wedlock from different women.
What?
So my focal point, even when I was growing up, I said to myself, and what's crazy is, it came back to me the other day. I said, I made an adult decision when I was 14 years old. I said, this will not happen to me at all. I knew family members that were living a very crazy lifestyle. They were being very hypocritical,
Right.
saying one thing and doing something
another.
else. And I said to myself, I will not succumb to these circumstances.
Good for you.
I've had family members, even I have a cousin who was a sophomore in high school, the same high school that I went to. I found out that she had a kid when she was 12 years old. So when I said that I experienced a lot of different situations,
Right.
it was very, very crazy. But I do believe, again, that the family dynamic is
It's
very
very important.
important. If the father figure is not in home, if the father figure is not there, we have an issue here, people.
Absolutely.
A lot of children are just being misguided, and they're
Yeah,
just
I
running all
believe
over the
that.
place.
And a lot of with the father being absent, there are other avenues as getting a mentor.
Yes.
Yes.
Or because there's so many good mentors
Oh, yes.
out there Thank goodness, because I'm
Yes.
in that situation too. You know, I was a single parent raising my children.
Yes.
So, you know, they're not with their father every single day. So
Right.
I think that if they have a male mentor, a male figure, yeah,
Yes.
male role model,
Yes.
there it is.
And they're there, you know. I don't want nobody to think that they're not there. They are.
Yes.
And you can find them. They're in schools. They're in universities. They're at your Boys and Girls Club. They're at your YMCA.
Right.
They're at your different rec centers around
Yeah,
the
they're
city.
just not in your home.
Some of them may be in church as well too. It just depends
Right.
where you are. But if you find one, make sure that you stay in touch
Yes.
with them. That's
It's
very
important.
important.
Yeah,
Very
very
important.
important.
Do you feel that men, especially of African descent, they're overlooked when it comes to mental health?
Yes, I do believe that this has become not just a hot topic, but it's become a very pressing topic that needs to be addressed
Yes.
and discussed. But you do it to where it's in a safe environment.
Right.
And I get my men to do that. When I started my program back in 2017, we just did it on a conference call. We did it to where it was just for 3 months as a test run. I wanted to see how many men would answer my call.
What type of program was it?
The program is called Refuel.
Okay.
Refuel deals with a safe environment, a safe platform to where we can talk about prayer, we can talk about journaling things down, writing things down. I encourage all my men to write things down. It's very important. Please do that. Don't just have those thoughts bottled up in your head or those feelings bottled up. I want you to write them down. So I talk about that in my platform as well.
Good.
We came out as a confirmation line, conference line, affirmation line.
Okay.
I want them to speak life to themselves, positive things to
Yes.
themselves.
Beautiful.
So with that being said, this particular platform helps out many men, and I wanted to know that it's there. I do believe that most men, they do get overlooked even when they're doing good.
Yes.
And it's a very hurtful situation, and the man has feelings. Men have feelings.
Absolutely.
We have emotions. I
Yes.
want the women to know that as well too. Please don't overlook that special someone in your life. Please do that. Please tell them that you love them. And I say this with my women as well too, my ladies out there, my queens, because please honor that man. If you know he's doing good, you know he's doing the right thing.
Let him
he's
know.
Let
Tell him.
them know.
Yeah.
That's the way that a positive communication bridge
Right.
can be formed.
Right.
And not just form, I want it to sustain. It's very important for you to tell this man that
Right.
he is important. But I've seen it over the years that most men do get overlooked.
Yes.
And I know that, and we can say this, even here in America, that a lot of women, they have those programs that they're set up for them. They
Right.
have those support groups. But when it comes to the men, it's just like,
What about us?
exactly, what about us?
Yeah.
You know, we want to sit down and express ourselves.
Right.
We want to say a few words. We want to say a few things. You know, we have some things that we want to put on the table as
Right.
well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you also think that is there a reason that you think that men either bury their feelings or hide their emotions?
Yes, it is. And it has become very, how can I put this? Very poisonous.
Yes.
It has become a taboo. And it's time for us to talk about it. I don't want the men to hide their feelings. I don't want them to bury their feelings. It's very important for you to express yourself. And my mother and I, we had this conversation. It was right after my grandmother had passed in 2016. We said that, oh, grandma held some things in and she took it with her. We were like, for
Why?
what? What's the purpose behind that?
She didn't want to
Right.
hurt anyone.
Supposedly she didn't want to hurt anyone,
Yeah.
but then when my aunt came into play and she took over my grandmother's house, she began to find some more information
Okay.
as she was digging.
Right.
And she was like, this lady didn't tell us anything
Yes.
about X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
What's up with this?
Yes.
So I made it a point, and it's a very critical point, that you do not hide anything that is important,
Right.
that is in concern with you or with your family. Because when the mental health is hit, it is going to become very tumultuous.
Okay.
And what people don't realize is that it hits the spirit first. It hits the mind second.
Okay.
It hits your heart third. So
Wow.
it actually takes a toll on your overall health all the way around, because now you're going to question everything that the
Everything.
person has done.
Right.
So it's very, very sad. that we are at this point now that we're like, we got to hide stuff now?
Right.
Yes.
How can you get to your healing if you don't confess? Confession is always good for the soul.
It is. It is. Do you feel that the church, especially in the black community, plays a huge role when it comes to mental health?
It has. And I do believe that now we are in, I'm not going to say a state of emergency. I call it a global universal emergency. When it comes to the matters of church and when it comes to matters of mental health, I think now they're starting to talk about it, but I think it needs to be talked about a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely.
And a little bit more deeper.
Yes.
Because we need to get to, as I like to call it, the core of the issue. If you don't get down to the root of the matter and dig it up, it's going to stay there and lay dormant, and it's going to not only do that, but it's going to continue to affect not just you, but the rest of your future as well. Can you imagine how many times grandmother, granddad, great-grandma, great-granddad, and 7 generations back, all the things that they have done that you and I were not aware about.
Right.
Right.
We need to go back there and start digging some stuff up and find out why were they doing this,
Right.
and what was the purpose behind it. The church has done positive, but the church has also done some negative things as well too. And I'm here to contest to the church. We need to get back on point with this. There are issues that need to be addressed, and we can do it not just in a loving kind of way, but also in a very transparent kind of way. It's very important for them to get back to the mark and say, you know what? These things need to be addressed, because if you don't address them, guess what happens to the children?
Yes.
They're going to go looking somewhere else,
Yes,
and they're going to find an answer, but it may not be the right answer.
Right. Very good.
We're so glad about this and so happy to hear about this refuel. I think that is awesome that
Thank
you
you.
created this to
Thank
share,
you.
For men.
Men.
Yes, yes. It's also not just for men, but it's also for artists.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the vision came to me in 2017
Okay.
that when you begin to notice the artists, and not just on a celebrity level,
Okay.
but on a local level as well, of how they're being affected, mental health, again, plays a very critical part in the role of an artist. But what they don't realize, especially for audiences out there or for those that love a certain type of artist, regardless of what genre of music that they're in, they have to realize that they fell in love with the persona of the artist.
Okay.
They did not get to understand the person
Right.
before they became
Right,
the artist.
right.
So we have to go ahead and do this issue of, let's separate the duality of it. Let's get back to the core of the matter with this person. And I'll tell you like this, because I'm a very spiritual individual. I get visions, I get divine downloads. So what I realized is during my moment of reflection, and one of my mottos is reflection produces revelation,
Okay.
that during my moment of reflection, I came to the point of where this is what we call the Superman complex. That basically means that a person, when they get on stage, that their ego is being to the forefront
Okay.
and themselves are in
Or
the
in the
back.
Yeah.
They're not loved, they're not appreciated, and they're not supported.
Okay.
So they feel as if, well, I guess everybody else can love me if I create this persona.
Okay.
So I begin to address the matters of the artistry
Okay.
and the artist itself, because we're dealing with many artists
Right.
that are either committing suicide by overdose,
Yes.
by gun, by knife, or just simply because they did not think that they were loved.
Right.
And we have to go back to the root of that matter and saying that you are loved.
You are loved. Yes.
That's the main thing.
Yes. Awesome.
So can you tell us, were you diagnosed with depression, or what other mental health?
The crazy thing about it, I want to say about 2 years ago, I came to that conclusion. I was actually able to diagnose myself.
No. Yes.
Okay.
And the depression state came from where I had family members, especially one in particular. I had an uncle on my father's side who was a pastor of a church.
Okay.
And when it came to me doing poetry, not just, I say, within the church, but just outside of it,
Okay.
outside of the building itself, it came to the point of where he was actually mocking me. and bringing me down as if I was doing something wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
Being able to express myself. And I also began to notice this within my family as well too. All my other uncles, my cousins, my aunts as well, that they tend to try to bring somebody down because they have a gift.
Yeah.
Well,
And
why
that's
is
also
that?
essential.
Why
I think what it is that it is a lack of knowledge.
Okay.
It's also it's ignorance at an all-time high.
So
That's
do
what
you,
it is.
you think, have you separated yourself from some of those people?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Absolutely.
Sometimes you have to.
You have to, and
Yes.
it's a must because I feel that if you do not do any separation from them,
It'll bring you down.
it will bring you down, and they're very contaminated. They're very poisonous,
Toxic.
very toxic. And if you do not cut off those toxic relationships, even if it's family, it doesn't matter. You have to remove yourself from it if you want to continue to have a healthy state of mind.
Right.
It's very important for you to do that. And I had to do that to where it's like, oh, I feel good about myself now. And then also an act of forgiveness
Okay.
plays a huge part. But the forgiveness doesn't start until you forgive
Right.
yourself.
Okay.
That's your
That's true.
affirmation.
And so that's where it started.
That's
you,
where it
you
started.
have forgiven yourself.
Forgiving myself
Good.
and then forgiving them as well, which is a
Yes.
hard process.
It is a hard process.
Listen, it's a very hard process
Yes.
to deal with certain people, especially family members. But it's okay. I still love you anyway.
You know, what would you tell your younger self
Oh, that's a good question. What is my younger self?
with everything that you've been through from the age of 14, or probably younger,
Probably younger. Yeah.
Yes, younger.
to everything that you have learned, everything you have been through? What would you say to your younger self?
Wow, Mario, that's a really good question. Awesome. I would say to my younger self, never ever allow anyone to tell you that you're not special.
Good.
Never allow anyone to tell you that you are not enough,
There you
Right.
go.
that you are amazing,
Yes.
you are called to greatness,
Yes.
and that you are great. That's what I would
That's
tell
it.
myself.
That's right. That's it.
My younger self.
That's right.
Yes.
I like that.
Have you ever received any form of therapy yourself?
I have. Actually,
Okay.
my mother is a counselor.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
okay.
And not just a minister as well, but my mother was a counselor. She actually did anger management
Okay.
within AT&T, where she worked for almost 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should like to put it, Mom, this is for you. You were there for 27 years,
Yes.
3 months, and
Oh.
12 days.
Oh my goodness.
She got it down to the T
Yes. And she retired.
when she retired. But in the midst of her being there, she was a facilitator at AT&T for all the management. They would call her in when someone was going through death in the family
Okay.
or someone was dealing with suicide, things
Okay.
of that nature. She actually had her own prayer group there as well for almost, I want to say, 10 years. And she was able to do amazing things there.
Okay.
She also was able to teach anger management to
Okay.
women that were coming out of corrections, women who were coming out of the penitentiary
Yeah.
system as well.
Okay.
So we were able to sit down and to talk.
Okay.
My mother actually has, she went to school for psychology
Okay.
at
Okay,
Tennessee
great.
State University.
Perfect person to talk to.
So, and then also check this, my brother went to school at Bethune-Cookman University
Okay.
for sociology.
Oh, boy.
And I went to school for communications.
Oh.
So everything was centered around
Right.
human behavior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell the audience, we can go on and on.
I know.
We really could about you. You're a very interesting
Thank you.
man. But we want you to tell the audience how they can keep up with you, communicate with you, reach
Okay.
out to you.
Yeah.
How can they reach you?
So guys, how we doing again? My name is Ronyai Hawkins, and feel free, you can reach out to me at IM_RONYAI on Instagram. You can find me at www.RONYAI.com. You can also find me at Ronyai Hawkins on Facebook, Ronyai Hawkins on Twitter, Ronyai Hawkins on LinkedIn as well. So I'm all over the place. Just feel free to Google me. Just, hey, when you see me, feel free to say hi, how you doing? We can talk, we can catch brunch, whatever it is, just feel free to reach out to me. And
You
then-
have special any events coming up, upcoming events?
I would say feel free to definitely check in on my postings, everything that I do. Again, IM_RONYAI on Instagram, also on my website, Ronyai.com, and just keep checking in. Feel free to reach out to me. Also, you can reach out to me by email if anybody's ever interested and wanting to have mental health sessions, one-on-one sessions, or even group sessions. Refuel the call at gmail.com. That's REFUEL THECALL. Refuelthecall@gmail.com, and I
Great.
will get back to you shortly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We thank you for being here and being so transparent and
Yes.
also sharing from a male's perspective.
That's right.
Thank
We
you.
truly appreciate it. Our third male guest.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
right. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Please tune in next Tuesday for another amazing show. 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. experience a mental illness. They say when the mind suffers, the body cries out. Society makes you think that as men you cannot ask for help because we'll look weak and less than a man. There is help out there. Men, please speak up and seek the help that you need. You do not have to suffer in silence. It's just so sad to not only have to fight the illness, but have to fight the stigma. Let's continue to work together to end the stigma and end the silence associated with mental health. If you know someone who's in crisis, please contact 1-800-273-8255. Thank you for tuning in for another Candid Conversation.
Wow.